about to monitoring consumption monitoring. That is to know how much light has been consumed and how to calculate from the last bill, and also to the second bill, and calculate it and know how much light has been spent for that particular month. Yes, I think that's few from even what I've learned. I learned so far, but I'll still keep on revising. And the more I revise, I keep on discovering some things from it. Thank you so much.
Very good, Mr. Gochuku. I really like these key lessons you just shared. And it's quite impressive that we've been participating as well. I think what matters most is how we are able to implement all these things we are learning in class. So we encourage that whatever new knowledge you gain in class, ensure to put it into practice. That's just one of the good ways you can add value to the environment. I think we just have 2 or 3 more people. The facilitator is very much around on the call already, but I would still like that we hear from more participants before facilitators take over. So yes, I want to hear from Mr. Sunday Itwa. Yes, I've not heard him speak in this class in a while now. Mr. Sunday Itwa Agbonlenume. Yes. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Mr. Sunday, are you there? Okay, I'm actually taking note of the active students in class. It's not just about being online.
Hello, Barakat. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Hello,
we can hear you,
Barakat.
sir. Yes, good evening, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Mr. Engineer Ejiro, yes. Good evening, sir. Are you there, sir? I can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
Hello, Barakat.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I've been struggling with the internet at my end.
Consumption monitoring, that is to know how much light has been consumed and how to calculate from the last.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, no problem. I saw somebody speaking.
Yes, we're actually, having a key recession from the last class.
Okay, so let me be sharing my screen while that goes on. So you let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah. Sorry, class. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Okay.
Yes, I can see it, sir.
Can you? Okay. Barakat, what about you?
Yes, I can see from my end, sir. Okay.
Okay, so you let me know when we are starting, please.
Okay, I think we just have 2 minutes to wrap up.
Okay.
I would like
I'll
to
be on mute now.
Okay, all right, just 2 minutes to wrap up this session. Yes, we would like to hear from Mrs. Modupe Ladipo. Yes, please kindly share with us the key lessons from the last class. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so one of the key lessons I learned was the importance of earthing. What earthing is, why we need to check it and service it. Possible issues that might come up that might relate to the fact that we are not paying attention to the earthing. And as a facility manager, why we need to pay attention to earthing. So although I went to look for it in my own facility, I could only see in few places because I work with a facility manager, and it was weird that they don't know where earthing, all the earthing is where. So it was a really big lesson for me. And that was one of my key takeaways. Then also how electricity is generated. Yes, we've been taught, I'm a science student, but how it works in a generator. I think there are 2 parts. We have the alternator. There are 2 parts of an alternator. Please forgive me if I the stator, and I've forgotten the other part. But one is static and then the other one moves. So the friction, the alternator uses for burns it while it's moving and then produces electricity. So yes, I learned that one. Then also, the importance of maintaining generator, generator parts, generator battery is very, very important. You have to check your battery very often, so that you don't have like an impromptu failure or something that will jeopardize your job or put your job on the line. So yes, I learned that one too. As a facility manager, you have to pay attention to the run hour of your generator, which is 250 hours. Um, there's so many things we learned, but those were some of the key takeaways I took from the lessons.
Excellent. Well done, Miss Muzukela. Well done. This is also quite impressive. And I'm really happy to hear that you took all of these key takeaways from the last class. So I think at this junction, I would like to hand over the mic to the facilitator for this evening, in person of Engineer Odibo Ijiro Gene. Over to you, sir. Welcome, sir. Okay.
Okay. Please, everybody should confirm if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes,
confirm,
I
sir.
saw.
You can go ahead.
Yes,
I saw. Yeah.
I heard most of the things you guys said, and I really felt happy that you guys are learning. What makes you distinct and different from other facility manager is how you have been able to implement all the knowledge you have acquired. Being in class is one thing, then being practical, learning and applying this to physical things in life makes you different. So on a good note, I'll be taking you on air conditioning maintenance. In this air conditioning maintenance, we are going to run through some things together. So my title preambles, the title facilitator profile housekeeping. I believe this must have been shared in all the other classes. Then this is me, and these are my small titles, small one. I'm a facility manager. I've worked, I'm more than 10 years now in facility management, then training as an HVAC, both local and international. When I mean international, I've gone abroad to have the training on HVAC, so I know how it takes. Then graduate from Ambrose Ali University, master degree in facility management, certified as a Pro FM credential, experience gain in Mandalas, Michael Lamon, MECON Global PFI, and CBRE. So that is one of the facility I run back then before I moved to the new company I am now. So you know the rule, brief introduction of students that have been done, one conversation at a time. Once the training start, everybody should be muted. Then if you have any cause to ask or you want to ask a question, just signify by raising your hand. I will give you the audience. Then break will be announced by the facilitator, which is Barakat. Then after completing this course, you are expected to explain the various components of HVAC system, have understanding of HVAC maintenance, understand various HVAC types. We have different HVAC types that can be deployed in your building. Have knowledge of some basic problem that HVAC component pose to your facility. The students are expected to know how to carry out audit and preparing a checklist for your facility. Also show some understanding of ventilation. Ventilation is also essential for you to keep your building running. So our topic mainly starts on maintenance. All of us must have heard maintenance, but I will break it down. What is important is not the theory, it's you understanding what you need to do. If you check from the definition, maintenance in general can be defined as an effort taken to keep the condition and the performance of a machine always like the condition and performance of the machine when it is still new. So let me break this big English down. So one, they are telling you that you bought an equipment the first year. Second year, because of your maintenance culture, that equipment remain the same in the second year, remain the same the third year, remain the same after 5, 10 years, the equipment still remain the same. If you look at our society, Nigeria is a good environment where you can learn maintenance because we have a lot of decay in most of all the sectors in Nigeria. Buildings that we used to admire some years ago, Cocoa building in Ibadan and the rest, if you go there today, nobody wants to go there because one, they lack some maintenance culture. And when the buildings are being built, there are some maintenance things that was not considered when this was being built. So your aim here is to use this knowledge in maintenance and transfer it to other sector. But the aim of this particular training is HVAC. So remember, it's a deliberate effort. When you buy an equipment and you look at your OEM, what do you see? Oh, this equipment needs to be cleaned every month. This equipment needs to be cleaned every quarter. The filter needs to be replaced once in a year. The filter needs to be replaced once in 6 months. Those are the conditions they've given to you to use this equipment. But what do we do as Nigerians? Oh boy, that money don't too expensive. I mean, we could use and the thing they okay. You see, they're running that equipment for years. And once the equipment run down, going back to the market, you will not buy the equipment the same amount you bought it previously, the previous year. Then if you don't have the particular part available in the market, you have to go abroad. How long does it take for you to freight? How long does it take for you to follow through the sea back to Nigeria? So at the end of the day, the equipment cannot work. And your customers within the building, if you are in a facility where you have customers, you have tenants, all of them will start complaining. This building is a mess. How can we stay in a place and everywhere is hot? We are all opening our windows. What is wrong with this facility? The facility manager is not living up to expectation. All kinds of escalation will start coming in because somebody did not deliberately plan for the equipment to be maintained. Please, at the end of this training, you all should you should drop all those traditional methods of taking care of things and follow the standard practice of maintenance. Not just in AC alone, you can apply the knowledge in other sectors. I believe this is very clear. A good example of things you can do, your AC might be your split unit. What is the frequency of maintenance you need to ask? Even if the equipment is working, does not mean you cannot maintain. Once you are set quarterly maintenance, put it on your PPM, put it in your system, put it on your phone, set a reminder. Every 3 months, this equipment needs to be maintained. Then once they say the filters needs to be replaced once in a year, ensure that the filters is replaced once in a year. Then what are the type of maintenance we have? So we have the reactive type called the unplanned. Then we have the proactive type. Most of us, more than 95 to 99% of us Nigerians fall under this group. Reactive. If the thing not spoil, we not go fix am. That is the tradition of an average Nigerians or a black man. If it does not run to bad, we do not repair. But at the end of this course, I will believe you guys will have this proactive and planned mindset. If you go to multinationals like Chevron, you go to Mobile, you go to the likes of the PZ, Nestle, and the rest, you see their building always neat. The flowers are well trimmed. The environment is cool. You enter some of the banks, you see how presentable the environment is. It's because some people were employed to ensure that condition remain as it is for how many years to come. So, like I said, in the previous one, it's a deliberate effort. So being proactive and planned is a deliberate effort. So it's divided into two, the preventive and predictive. When you say preventive is that you know what can go wrong. You know what can happen. What do? You started putting some plans in place to replace. Maybe filter, you ensure that your stock have filters. If you work offshore, maybe you are in multinationals, So there's no way for you to go to a quick shop and get things to be bought because you are surrounded by water. You might be in a remote place where the parts are not available. You need to now define, what do I need to run this place for 1 full year? Okay, my technician, please let us sit and have a meeting. How often do we maintain? Oh, Organa, quarterly we dey maintain AC. You take note. If you maintain in March, what other time are we going to maintain? You take a date. Should we use first week or second week? You take your notes down. Then what are the things that can get bad in AC? One, you need to have refrigerants. You need to have a filter. You need to have some piece of copper pipe. You need to have a manifold gauge. You need to have this for the maintenance. Then you need to have a pressure washing machine in case there's issue. And there are two methods you can use to do that. It's either you have a contract or you have sourced that particular service out, or you self-perform it. The cheapest one is self-perform. But the issue self-perform has is identify the experienced person in the field that get the work done. Then for the outsourcing, they are the best form of system, but they are expensive. If you go to them that you want AC maintained, they will give you a particular price the first quarter. By the time the fourth quarter come, because there's no contract signed, they might tell you, Oga, inflation in Nigeria, I beg, we will need to increase our cost. And you have made your budget for the year. If the cost is increased, you are not able to meet up. So that gives a problem. That's why you see some people sometimes, they go for self-performing. Some marry the two. Some outsource the parts and for major repairs and employ somebody on site to do what? To do minor maintenance. Maybe the AC is not cooling, the person just adjusts. Maybe the AC needs to be maintained. They do minor maintenance. But when it comes to repairs, they are sources. So your method here for preventive or predictive determine the system you have to deploy. Under preventive, we have the constant interval. When I say constant interval, see every three months, you do your maintenance. Please, the standard practice for AC is every quarter. But over the years and from experience and for the condition of your AC installation, that standard might not work for your site. I have seen site that does AC maintenance every month. Why? The ACs were installed in a very dusty environment. Each time they work, they suck up dust. So you need to clean up the dust before you energize the AC. If that is not done, you give terrible issue to your compressor. And compressor is the most expensive of all the components within your AC. So take note. So what system do you take? Preventive. Under preventive, constant interval. Except that every 1 month. Is it when age setting into your AC after serving you for 5 years, serving you for 10 years, you can decide to improve on their maintenance, not because they are faulty, but because you want the condition to remain. If you go to some property or some environment, you see window unit they call Carrier and some Panasonic still working after about 15 years of service. Not because the person is good, but because the person has followed the standard practice laid down. So as an FM, there's discussion round now. If you are very conversant about the situation in Nigeria, a lot of FM are looking to reduce operational costs. And one of the things you can do as an FM is to ensure the operational cost of your facility is reduced by doing your maintenance as prescribed or as agreed by yourself and your client. If maintenance is not done and the equipment get higher, please take note. Then there are 3 months now. Then later, because of what you notice, maybe somebody came to work or they pour some dirt, you can decide to do a maintenance to ensure that the equipment, that one does not follow constant interval. It's just more like an opposite of the constant interval. Then the other one you see is what they call predictive. What is that predictive doing? That predictive maintenance, you look at a particular graph. Those of us that are engineers, every day you take data from your equipment. Then you go to multinationals, you see they take value of the temperature, they take the value of the pressure, they take the value of the quality of the indoor unit, and they plot it against a standard graph by the manufacturer. Once they see that there's a deviation, the temperature was supposed to go this route, but it's moving away from the standard practice, you know that it is time for maintenance. That is cost effective. It saves you from the constant that sometimes constant that you look at a scenario, you have one of your client not in the building for a long time. Are you supposed to maintain your equipment? A question was asked during one of our class. Are you supposed to maintain the equipment or leave the equipment? Sometimes it depends on the discretion of your client. Your client might tell you, I've not used this equipment for long, I cannot maintain it. But the standard practice demand the equipment should be maintained, even if it is not be used for 3 months. So whatever be the case, you should have answer for every of your response. Then under the predictability center, reliability center, this is the practice that this particular equipment adopt. You can have 3 or 4 different equipment on the site, and you decide to use different methods for their maintenance on site, not following the known practice for preventive. Then we have condition-based. Some equipment are so sensitive to some change in value, change in parameters that also need to be taken care of. All these equipment are for very large equipment. But when you are talking of split unit, you are talking of some window unit, talking of minium chiller system, you can decide to go with the preventive. But when you are talking of chillers that can cool big hall, that can cool places like a stadium, you need to take a more proactive approach by adopting the preventive type. So, like I said, I will give you an advice. For smaller units that you have spare parts available in the market, as an FM company, you might want to do self-perform or you are sourced, depending on the budget you have. Then when you are going to bigger equipment, Nigeria does not produce any spare parts. My advice, try to use the installer or use the company that supply you the equipment for the maintenance. My simple advice. Then on this, our focus will be plan preventive maintenance. We've talked about the preventive and the rest, but for this particular practice, which is obtainable and one of the cheapest options in Nigeria and still work for all facility, is to do plan preventive maintenance. So plan preventive maintenance is a regular and routine maintenance of equipment and assets in order to keep them running and prevent any costly unplanned downtime from unexpected equipment failure or breakdown. So what this man is telling us is that the preventive maintenance is a regular and a routine maintenance. Just imagine in your facility, you are doing your maintenance every month. That becomes regular and routine. First week, I'm doing my maintenance. Okay, by the other month, I'm also doing my maintenance at this particular time. What is our aim for this maintenance? Is to ensure that our asset is kept in a way that it keeps running on time. If you have been in a facility that people have experienced downtime, you understand clearly what I'm saying. I give you some few examples. They were supposed to have a board meeting somewhere in Marina. The facility manager, out of laziness and the rest, was not doing what he was supposed to do. So that equipment decided to have issue on the day. All top managers from different parts of the country were having meeting and strategic move in the company. The AC now messed up at that particular point. The facility manager was being called left and right, and the escalation got to his boss, and they gave the guy query. And from that point, the guy learned a very big lesson. Not that there were no plan in place. He was not ensuring the technician on site, the handyman on site, not ensuring the HVAC person that was employed were doing their work as it went due. When they raise an alarm, he leave it. Don't worry, maybe by next week we'll try to sort it up. Next week turn to 2 weeks, turn to 3 weeks, until the problem accumulated and decided to shut down on that particular meeting day. The guy finally lost his job in the process because simple thing that was supposed to be done in a simple way, he now had to take the lesson in a very complex way. I pray that none of you will end up in that manner. So then what are the things you need to do? A successful maintenance strategies require what? Planning. Who are the things we need to plan with? First of all, you are the facility manager. You are the head of your department. You are the quantity surveyor on your side. You are the leader that is leading some technician. Once you come into a site, after carrying out your audit, the next thing is planning. Planning involves taking care of all the assets. You write them down. On AC, what AC do we have in so floor? Oh, we have window unit. Okay, what are the things we need for window unit? You line them down. How are we going to maintain the unit? You line them down. What is the frequency of maintaining the unit? You line them down. After writing, you need to attribute that action to a particular person. If you have Kasali as an HVAC person, Kasali, you'll be in charge of AC maintenance for our factory. For the company or for the commercial office that we have. You assign the person and give them that task and set up a KPIs to measure their performance. Then the next thing, you schedule the maintenance. After planning, the next thing is to schedule. Is it going to be monthly? Is it going to be quarterly? You need to schedule so that your equipment will not run down. Scheduling can be on an Excel sheet. Scheduling can also be on your phone. Those of us that are on team meetings, we have calendar. You can download Google Calendar on Google Play Store. Once you download it, you can take a full day or 1 week, depending on the number of assets you have in your facility. You write the frequency of maintenance and do about 1 week notice to all the plan and scheduling you have done in that calendar. Your phone now becomes a tool for your performance in that building. I hope you guys can hear me. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Can
Yes,
I
we
go?
can hear you.
Can I go ahead?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. So after scheduling, this allow the equipment to be in good condition at all time. Okay. At all time before a problem or a breakdown occurs. So planning is necessary, and you can see scheduling of the maintenance. I've given you, you can use your Excel sheet, you can use your calendar through Google Play Store, ensure you have it on your phone to do a reminder to you, or do a reminder to your vendor, or do a reminder to your team. And those that have the luxury of buying software that can push the maintenance plan can go for it. But some of the software are very expensive and they are site-based. When I say site-based, once they design for you, you pay differently for site. So if you're having 10 sites and they are charging you about $5,000 to $10,000, so you are going to multiply by all the 10 sites. So its cost is very, very expensive. But you can use local things and little Android application people have designed to push your maintenance plan. Then please note the frequency of your air conditioning maintenance depend on the quality of its environment. For AC, there are two types of environment. We have the indoor environment where you guys are seated now, where you are enjoying the lecture. When you say indoor environment, you have a closed wall and you have a roof over your head. Then the other environment is the outdoor type. The outdoor is outside your house that have the enclosure and that roof. And that place is where rain, you can see rain, you can see dogs, you can see your technician sitting on your AC, all kinds of things. Then why am I bringing this up? Your indoor air quality also matters. If you go to factory, we commission AC in one of the factory we work in the past. I think these people that makes Limtin in Agbara, I've forgotten their name again. I don't know if that is being done. We installed AC for them, but only to discover that the Limtin particles were actually flying in the air. So the AC, by virtue of sucking the return air to the AC, was actually sucking those small particles in the air. So within your house, There are small particles that you cannot see. So you need to care for the quality of air within your space. Beyond the scope of this teaching, please take note, there are some environments that are exposed to what they call sick building syndrome. As an effort, take the note down. You can write, you can find out about it. There are some building you enter, the quality of air in that building makes you sick. You sneeze and you can catch all kinds of disease because the environment is not clean. So your AC within your indoor require clean air. And if the air is not clean enough, that's why there's a filter in your AC to further clean up your air in an unstable way. Then your outdoor have lot of dust and have lot of things that can hamper its progress. So the indoor unit sucking air from your environment, that is the hot air within your environment, is suck it into itself, but because you have a cooling equipment, it cools that air, while your filter remove the dirt and pump that hot air passing through the cool thing to a cool air, it pass it out to the into your office, into your space, and send out for your comfort also with the outdoor unit. The outdoor unit, what is done, because it generates heat, it need cool air from the environment. It suck the cool air from the environment through itself while pumping out the hot air in front. That's why some of your technicians, sometimes when they see that they are during raining season or when it rains, what they do, they put their wet clothes, hanger, shoes in front of your AC because they know that that thing generates heat. But they should do that or stop doing that, because once you block that heat being discharged, your compressor can actually suffer the effect of the action. The indoor unit sucking air from its environment, cool it and send it out for your comfort. Also with the outdoor unit. For clean environment, a half year biannual preventive maintenance is required, depending on the cleanliness of your outdoor and your indoor. For moderate environment, which is the general practice everywhere in Nigeria, is a quarterly preventive maintenance. That means every three months. For polluted environment, a monthly preventive maintenance is required. Then for an extremely polluted environment, a fortnight happening or produce every week or two. So there are some facility you go to every 2 weeks, the filter needs to be cleaned. And this happen mainly in the factory where people are producing product to be supplied, because the machine run constantly and small particles are being sucked and your filters are blocked. You need to wash them or replace those filters. Major focus of this facility system are the people. Who are the people in your facility? Your staff, your visitor, your customer. Any person that use a facility is what? Your customer or your visitor or your staff. The process could be activities carried out within the place. What is your organization doing? Is it an office area? Is it a mall where people come and buy and sell? Is it a cinema? Is it a theater? Is it a stadium? Is it a church where activities are done? Is it a mosque where people goes to pray? So you need to know the process being taking place. Why you need to know the process? Where people are going to club, people dance. The AC design for that particular environment is different from the one you design for a library. Please take note of that. Don't assume they are the same. Then sometimes you might want to wonder, place, why is place important? The location of your facility also matters. If you install your office location in a very busy environment where generators are constantly working and your outdoor unit is there, your outdoor unit will actually run down over time. Your outdoor unit could actually run down over time. So you need to be careful about the environment you pick. If people are looking for office space, they carefully look for space that will not hamper their progress, that will not hamper what they do. So these three things, people, process, and place, need to be focused. You might be in an environment where people want to relocate there, your client wants to relocate. You need to assist. As a facility company where I presently work, they also do that. They help you to look for a suitable place that will not have direct impact on your asset, that will not have direct impact on your workers, that will not have direct impact on your operations. So those three things matters. Why do we need to maintain our HVAC system? One, to create comfort. Why do you need to create comfort? People need to come into your place and feel cool. If you go to shopping mall like ShopRite, you go to the Palms, you go to some other big boy, Ebano, and some the rest, what do you feel when you enter into the environment? You feel this feeling of comfort. Wow, this place is beautiful. Look at the cooling system are working optimally. If you are in a place where people are renting apartment or want to rent a store for their market or for their business, they will put, when you tell them that, sir, this is the amount for this property, they are willing to buy because of the value of maintenance culture that you guys have adopted. Improve indoor air quality. The filters you have in your AC clean the air and ensure that no dust goes into the space. That is the work of the filter. Then you save money over time. When you adopt a good maintenance culture, you save money over time. You reduce total breakdown of your equipment. You prolong the system lifespan, equipment that is constantly maintained, and you follow the tradition of maintenance, your equipment will live longer. Then to reduce noise, after some time, some equipment due to old age start generating noise because some parts are actually weak. Because of your maintenance culture, all those noise and those parts are removed. Those ones that are worn out are replaced. To keep the humidity and the temperature within regulated amount. Humidity also matters. You might ask, what is Oga saying? Humidity. This is something most of us knows. I give an example. I always ask this local question. How many of us they shop granite? All of us they eat granite. If you are eating granite, after a while, you leave your bottle of granite exposed to the air. You go out maybe for 30 minutes or 1 hour, and when you come back, what happened to the granite? You discover that the granite is soft. How did it get soft? How did it get soft? It has absorbed water from the air. How does water get to the air? Those are questions you ask. Your AC has the capacity of regulating to some extent the water content in air. And these are things we know. A good example in our office, you see your printing, where you keep your paper under your printer, you see a light bulb installed there. That light bulb is not installed for fashion. It's installed to keep your paper dry so that when you are printing, your printing come out with good quality. If you don't have that light there, sometimes when you print, the quality of the printing come out very poor because the paper have absorbed water in air and sometimes the printer can squeeze the paper. So humidity in air is very important. Then the temperature is what makes us feel comfortable. The regulated temperature by ASHRAE is between 20 and what? 24. Anything higher, anything lower, human begin to feel uncomfortable. If you are in an environment that the temperature is about 19 degrees, the rate of heat leaving your body increase. That's why you see people are feeling cold. So I ask a question now, who feel heat more, the male or the female? You tell me when it's time for us to talk. Male or female, who feel it more? And the disadvantage of open office. Open office might be very good, but they came with problems. Because when you install AC in an open office, you have people that regulate that their body work with different temperature. There are some who will tell you, this place is too hot. Some will tell you, this is okay. Why some will tell you it's too cold? As an FM, who do you listen to among them? That's why they set up a standard between 20 and 24 as standard temperature for an office for it to work. Sometimes when you reduce your temperature in your AC to 18, does not mean the AC within your space is going to be 18. You're only giving instruction to the AC to take the temperature of that space to 18. So it's possible you measure and you get 20, but not the 18 you are seeing there. That's why you need a separate measuring device to get your temperature. Then to improve efficiency of our electrical system, you see that server room are increasing, electrical storeroom are increasing. So you need AC to keep them working and running continuously. Then your data center, Now everybody is going to the cloud. You wonder, you want to go, you want to do anything, you're on the cloud. Your WhatsApp, your Telegram, everything is back up on the cloud. And that's data center where all these things are backed up. They are installed with multi-system of AC to keep the equipment cool, because the volume of heat generated can roast a human alive. If you go to a data center, they are so hot. That's why they design cooling to some extent. There are some equipment called precision equipment. The work of the precision equipment is to cool the environment at a particular relative humidity. That is what they do. Even if the rain fall outside, there's quantity of water in air, the equipment by itself will remove the water from the air, drop them in a small container or cup, which you can dispose, return back. It keeps the environment warm. They call them precision units. Then to increase productivity, over time, research has been done and discovered that equipment that are exposed to cooling work more efficiently. Even human, if you are in an environment that is very comfortable, you behave very well, you do very well, and your productivity increase. So why should we not maintain our equipment? So I ask again, what is HVAC system? You might ask, the H there stand for heating. Why do we need heating? Heating is needed in some sector in Nigeria. You know, we have two common seasons in Nigeria, the dry season and the wet season. We're about the wet season, then very soon we'll be experiencing the dry season, which come in form of the harmattan. You don't see rain for a long period of time. Everywhere is dry. So that heating is needed in some areas. When the rainfall is high and you need to keep yourself warm, the heating of an equipment is activated. So I speak to you, there's an AC equipment called the heat pump. That heat pump has two characteristics. They can heat and at the same time they can cool, but they are expensive. So you don't need to turn up anything. And most of us have been privileged to travel abroad. You see that in the hotel you might lodge or some of the residents, they have what they call the heater installed in their house in case there is snow, because human being need to keep himself within 36 degree. Anything above 36, you are sick. Anything below, you are also sick. So your temperature must read between 36 and 37. It must be less, not exactly that. Please take note. Then we talk about the V. Ventilation is needed in our kitchen, needed in our toilet, because sometimes when you go to the toilet, people mess up the environment. So you need to take those smell out. Sometimes when you cook in the kitchen, you need to take the smoke out. Sometimes when you cook, you need to take the heat out from the environment. You can compare our setting in the village to what we have in the city. Most of our kitchen are located far from our house. Those that still have villages, so not some villages that have turned into city. Then the last one is all the ones we know, air conditioning system, which is used to maintain or control an environment within a building for the comfort for the occupant or for the process being conducted. To maintain the environment, the HVAC system controls some factors. What are the factors the AC control? Number one, temperature. Temperature is the measure of the quantity of heating or cooling of a particular environment. Relative humidity is talking about the quantity of water in air, because that water sometimes can damage your electronics. That water sometimes can damage your product. I give an example for you to understand what I'm saying. In the past, my company made some mistake in the past. What was the mistake? They installed for a company, I think Cabri in the past. What happened there? They installed the commission and they discovered that when the tom-tom were being produced, they discovered that the nylon was actually sticking to the tom-tom. They started losing customer. People were not buying. And what was the thing? Where the tom-tom is being produced, there's high quantity of water in air. So when producing, the tom-tom will absorb the water. So there's an equipment they call dehumidifier that was supposed to be installed. It was an omission. And back then, that cost the company then about 10 million naira, because the company had to go and buy that on their own and install, and the problem was eliminated. I'm only saying this because of this humidity, the quantity of water in air. Even biscuit, if you leave it too long outside the nylon, what happens is absorbed and the quality is affected. So humidity plays a strategic role in some commercial office, in factories, and in some company, even in oil producing sector. You can see that. Then we also have air distribution. You ask, after the AC has been produced, what happened? You need to distribute either through your duct system, either through any means. The duct, the air conditioning need to be taken to where it is needed. Then quality of air also matter. What quality of air do you have within? How many times do we do quality of air test within in our factory? So you need to know. The air velocity also matter. Then the noise level compare to the fan. So sometimes your AC can disturb. You might say the noise does not matter. Noise matter in some sector, most especially you work with multinational. Somebody can come to maintain your AC and the AC started making noise. Most people will go home to work until that noise is fixed. And if it's not fixed, they might decide, if the thing becomes so eminent and so common and frequent, they might decide moving off from your property to another property that can give them quality service. Then what are the basic components of air conditioning system? You have asked, the AC is cooling, but there are some things that makes up that AC. What are the things that makes up the AC? We have the compressor, we have the condenser, we have the expansion valve, and we have the evaporator. Compressor work like something within our system. What is the thing? Our heart. Work exactly like the compressor. You know, we have arteries and we have vein. One carry blood away from the heart, another one return blood to the heart. So we have, if you check your compressor, check the direction of flow of what? Of the refrigerant gas. So every compressor has its own oil and has its own refrigerant. Refrigerant has a very long press and impact on our environment. That's why some refrigerants are being phased out. But take note that every compressor have oil in it, then they also have a refrigerant gas. It could be R410, it could be R410, it could be R22, it could be R407, it could be any form of refrigerant dedicated to AC. But some are known to have direct impact on the environment. It's not so common in Nigeria, but if you go to Europe practicing, you must have full knowledge of those refrigerants and eliminate them from your facility, because once government discover you are using them, they can shut down your building. So we have the compressor, we have the condenser. The condenser is actually incorporated into your outdoor unit. Your outdoor unit are those AC you see that is installed outside. That is always rotating, bringing out large volume of heat when it is working. That is outdoor unit. I believe we understand that. Then the one you have inside the house or inside your office is the one they call the indoor unit. That one has your evaporator. Then your expansion valve also is located at the outdoor unit. Then the evaporator is located on the inside. The evaporator works exactly like your condenser. Your condenser take cool air from the environment, send it through the compressor and blows it away into the environment. While your evaporator does the opposite. It takes the hot air in your space, send it through itself and bring out the cool air. That is what it does. So I will explain in Jiffy what all those things means. Okay. Do I have? Okay, let me just use this means to explain. Your compressor, I don't know how many of us, this class is not to be engineering, but there are some things peculiar to engineering, but I will try my best to make sure you understand it. There's what we call pressure, there's what we call temperature, and there's what we call volume. And we have what they call the gas equation. So in displaying this, I will use common term in the kitchen. I will use common term indication to describe. Please, am I communicating? Somebody should just
Yes, sir.
signify. Okay, can I
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that compressor you see, when you on your AC, it is the outdoor unit and the indoor unit are interconnected electrically. And from your indoor unit, you plug to your power source. So what they did is to loop your outdoor unit to your indoor unit. There's a portion where you will see N, positive, negative, neutral, and earth. Some come with 4 cables, some come with 3 cables, but there's a way you can link the indoor to the outdoor. Then from your indoor unit, you plug direct to your power source in your house. So why am I explaining it? When you on your AC, the AC does not immediately start. Why? The compressor will need to heat up the oil. So I will explain for all of you to understand. First of all, those of us that cook in the kitchen, I know there are men that cook here and there are women, most of the time they cook in the kitchen. When you put your oil in an environment that is cold, either your palm oil or your groundnut oil, what happened to it? It turned to a semi-solid. True or false? True. You are not supposed to respond. So I'm only making a comment. You see it turn into it. Your compressor, by virtue of not working, over the night, the oil within it form a solid. So when you on your AC, there's a heating element designed inside your compressor that heat up that oil to turn it into the liquid form. Those of us that like eating dodo, when you pour that semi-solid into fry pan, what happened? The heat makes it look watery, like a liquid. That is exactly what the compressor is doing for 1 minute. That compressor is doing for 2 minutes. Some bigger equipment, it can take up to 10 to 25 minutes for some of them to start up, because the fluid within the refrigerant oil must be in the fluid form for it to start flowing around your refrigerating system for that to occur. So once that occur and it has turned to that, the gas within start moving. You see the direction of the arrow. That red sign means it is heated. Being heated, I give an example of the pressure. Most of us must have seen a pressure cooker. Most of us have seen kettle that whistle when you boil water. When you put water on and it gets to the boiling point, what happens? Because of the pressure of the steam passing through a small hole, it begins to whistle. So when you heat up gas, it becomes what? It get more energy and move very fast. And in moving them very fast, you see the direction is moving to. Where is it going to? It's going into the condenser. The work of the condenser is to take, the condenser has a fan. The work of the condenser is to take the air that is cool within the environment, suck it through itself, cool the compressor, and eject the hot air out. That's why you wonder this compressor is working. How is hot air coming out? The hot air is coming through the refrigerant, through the condenser, and through the fan, blowing around it and sending that heat to the environment. That's why if your AC is working and the fan, outdoor fan stop working, your compressor will stop working. And if care is not taken, you can damage that compressor, because the compressor is generating heat at a very large space. So the only way it can cool down is to suck air from the environment to cool itself. There's something in our car that works the same way, and that is your radiator. Radiator is intentionally put in front of your car so that when you drive through air, it is cool. And if you open it, there's water inside. So that when your engine is getting hot, the radiator give the required cooling to your engine. That's why your engine does not have issues. But if it start having issue, what happens? It gives you a sign on your dashboard: overheating, overheating. And some of the burning, the car that burn that I've seen on Tom Miller Bridge is as a result of malfunctioning of your engine, not being taken care of. Please take note. The work of the condenser is to eject heat to the environment, and there must not be obstruction in front. Don't install. Our architect created problem for most of us in our facility. They will build where you install your AC, and there's just a balcony wall just facing your AC. the heat cannot be ejected. The same heat you are sending out is returning back to the AC. I can assure you within 1 year, you buy new compressor because you're overworking the compressor. So after the heat has been ejected, the refrigerant begin to gain cooling. Don't forget, heat is added here, heat is ejected here, then the heat is reduced here. You see that it's becoming like blue and what? Red when it gets to this point. So there's what they call expansion valve. The work of that expansion valve is to reduce the pressure of the AC. The condenser reduces the temperature while your expansion valve reduces the pressure. So a good example of your expansion valve is like a capillary tube at the back of your refrigerator. Some old refrigerators, some refrigerator does not have it. You see one thin copper with one bulb, a copper bulb. What is it doing? That heat, the refrigerant that is coming, turning into a cool thing, passes through that thin copper. Then when it gets into that bulb, it gets enough big space. So the velocity to which it's run is now reduced. Then it begins to go straight. It's just like a cutter, a small cutter opening up into a canal. When it rains, you see the pressure of the water running to the cutter. By the time it gets to the canal, because the canal is a big space, the pressure of that water reduces. That is the exact way your expansion valve works. All these components I'm mentioning are very important for your AC to get what they call the refrigerating effect. If the refrigerating effect is a long English, just use the cooling effect. So at this point, you see that the liquid, the refrigerant has turned to liquid and is cold. That cold liquid is now pumped into your indoor unit that house your evaporator. So by that design, your indoor air unit, air is sucked at the top of your unit. If you check most of your outdoor units, they are installed with some space left at the top. That space is telling you that heated gas will go through the upper part into your AC, while this man, your evaporator, cool that hot air and send the cooling portion back to the space. So I believe I've made this part clear. So we have the compressor, the condenser, the expansion valve, and the evaporator. You can use CC, then EE. So the next thing, the other components included in your AC are the evaporator fan. Your evaporator cannot cool without the fan. The fan is the one taking the air, passing it through the cooling coil, then ejecting it out. Just one fan in a circular form. Somebody is raising his hand. Hello? Please, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. It's Barakat, sir.
Okay, go
have
ahead.
a 5 minute economics break.
Okay. Okay, not a problem. So I should stop at this point. Should I just run through this so that we start with the next page?
Okay, yes. Just run through this then.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the evaporator fan has a fan. The condenser fan too, by the virtue of its blowing, take hot air, cold air from the environment, send it. So it's that fan that is doing that work and ensuring your outdoor unit is cool at all time. Then you have your electrical cable by which electrons flow into the system to energize it. We have your plug. Your plug is the one you connect your cable to, then connect to your power source. Then we have a dryer. When you go to bigger units, we have what they call dryer. Somehow, when you are installing, water gets into the system. So how do you remove that water? We have a tool or a part of the AC called the dryer. So when your refrigerant go through the dryer, it removes the moist and ensure it's only refrigerant that goes through. Because if the moist continue to go around, some part of the AC will start getting rust. Then side glass is for you to see the quality of the dry glass, a dry refrigerant that is going through. They have color code on them. Then we have the temperature sensor. The temperature sensor is actually installed in your indoor unit. It works directly with your remote control. Then we have your thermostat, which all of us know indoors. Then we have capacitor connected to your compressor, also connected to your AC fan, then your indoor fan. The work of a capacitor is to boost energy to your AC. So we go for our 5 minutes break. So thank you very much. We'll come just 5 minutes. So Barakat will alert me when we have to come back. So Barakat, are we good to go?
Yes, sir. So we'll
Okay.
get back at exactly 6:12. Yeah, 6:12. 6:12. Okay, we are back now from the break. You can proceed now, Engineer Peju. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Can you hear me? Baraka, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so we start with the next page. Please, every question should be noted and we'll take that at the end of the class. If you don't ask, I will. So go to the next page, 1 minute. So we have different type of air conditioning system. So you might ask in your facility, you go to facility, you see some ACs very big, you see some window unit, you see some split unit, you see some VRS system, you see some they are silicon seal, you see some they are cassette unit, all of them work with the same principle. But sometimes aesthetic wise, their differences come along. As an FM, you must know which AC is suitable for a place. When you go into a meeting where they want to put AC in a meeting room, the question is asked, FM, please, can you help us with the kind of AC that will be very good, that can beautify this place? Some will look and say, oh, can we use a ductable unit? Ductable unit can be used for a very long haul that need AC to be blown into far distance. Then if you want something fancy, you don't want people to notice there's AC, you can go into the ceiling conceal unit. Conceal it, only the outdoor you see. But each of them has advantages and disadvantages. The ceiling conceal units are very expensive, and the water system, you need a pump, a small pump always inbuilt in the AC that take water from a low level to a high level. The day that pump fails, you have rain inside your office. You create artificial rain in your office, which can actually impair your performance as an FM and affect your quality of your building structure. So the AC are divided into ductable type and non-ductable type. So I give an example. Yeah, I always break it down for people to know. These are things you know. When you hear dot, this thing don't confuse me, it's confusing me. I give an example. When you generate electricity, how do you run cables into various house? I run electricity into various house through electrical cables. True or false? True. Your pump, you generate water from your borehole. How and take it to your overhead tank. How does water get into respective home? Through your PVC pipes, right? Yes. Your AC is generated from a central point. How do I take it into where it is needed? You need a metallic structure they call duct. Not dust, though. This is DUCT, duct. Duct is a metallical structure. It can be a square structure. It can be a rectangular structure. It can be a circular structure. And if you go to some places, it can be a nylon material that is used to pump those things out. So all those ones that use this duct are the ones they call ductable units. I hope that is clear. Then the ones that don't use duct are the one they call non-ductable units. And a good example are the split unit you have in the house. Once the cooling is generated, it is sent to the place that it is needed. Another ones you know are the window units. Those floor standing units you have in banks, those ones you have in big hall, your churches, event center, are what they call the non-ductable units. Once the cooling is generated, it is sent to where it is needed. No means to transfer it. But if you need a means to now transfer it, then you use what they call duct. It can increase the cost of your installation. And where do you need ductable unit? High-rise building, a long hall like a mall, where you go to ShopRite and the rest, take time to look up. You see some metallical structure with some opening, they call gray or diffuser, where your AC come out at different points. The AC is generated through a very big AC installed and run through all those components, and the start points are different section of that mall. So please, I hope you understand. Then under the non-ductable type is the split air conditioning, the window unit, floor mounted, wall mounted, ceiling mounted, exposed, hidden away type, then the cassette type. Under the ductable unit, you now have package unit. Most of us, if you have been to this building in Marina, they call it the Freeman House. They use a ductable unit there. That ductable unit actually look like your standing unit in your office. The ones with the regular one we need. But it does not send the cooling out to the place it needed because it is not installed where it is needed. Because of the noise, most of them are placed in a plant room because the fan are so strong that they can blow the cooling to a very far distance. Because of that, they generate noise. Those are restricted into a plant room, and ducts are connected on top of the unit and sent to respective office that needs the cooling. While at the back, they have the discharge point for heat, always out of a building. When you go through some building, you see them having some aluminum grate from the top of the building down. That part you are having grate could be a point of discharge of heat, could be a toilet, could be area for maintenance. Those are the three things they leave such places for. Please take note. Then we also have the floor standing package air conditioning unit. Don't forget, this one has floor standing, this one also has floor standing. What makes them different is that one use duct and the other one does not use duct. So bigger spaces are the ones that require this ductable units. Smaller places like our mall, student office, our offices, our small commercial building require this non-ductable unit. But if you are going to a large hall, you go for ductable unit, or depending on what your clients have advised. Then most of us must have seen this man. He's one of the oldest AC that we ever known. Very strong and rugged. Even in death, this man is still working. He has R22, one of the things that discovered the functionalities of this man. R22 was designed with a compressor. R22 has a devastating effect on our environment. That is a very substantial topic, but not to be discussed now. But just take note, R22 affect our ecosystem and also increase global warming and also increase the rate by which our refrigerant destroy the ozone layer. So most of them are being phased out in most countries, but you see some few ones still in use. So where you can see this, if you're an FM, there are some facility, if your facility does not have much, they can decide to put it in school, higher institution, hotels, hostel, residential apartment, office. There are some offices that cannot afford big split units, so they go for the window type. But the disadvantage of the window type is that they always have burglary behind. Somebody that wants to come and rob you can actually call that burglary, drop the AC, and come into your space through the AC. That's why a lot of people prefer to use split units. Split units, you only break in a portion of your wall and running the copper pipe through the wall for your outdoor unit to be connected. Then we have the split unit. This is the regular one all of us know. There's nobody in this call that must not have seen this unless you are just coming to the world. So you can find this at home, in our offices. If you look around your home, you see this. This one here is the indoor unit, while this is the outdoor unit. You can see I've described this the other time. This hot air is all the heat coming out from your space, from you, from your TV, from your electronics, from your glasses if it is faced to the sun, entering into the AC, and the AC, by the virtue of your evaporator, cools it and bring the cooling out here. This is what cools your environment. And the outdoor unit, because it generates it, is always left outdoor. You see there's space behind it and there's infinite space in front so that it can discharge the hot air. You can see where that is needed. Then in office, there are some fancy office and client that has some money to spend. They will tell you they don't want that split, they don't want the window, they want something fancy. So we have cassette unit and we have example of a ducted unit. Some, if you go to some hotel around the island, Abuja and the rest, most of them have a drop down. Immediately you are entering the house. Those that have lodged in a luxurious apartment, you see a drop down as you are entering the place. with a vent dropping off. That vent is actually having this ductable unit blowing into the very big space. Very, very good in AC cooling. This another brand, fancy type. This one, you see, the evaporator is connected just beneath it, and it has a tray to collect water. Each time your evaporator works, there's water that drops. So how do you take the water out? Since this one does not have a pump, it has a tray. Then you tell your plumber to connect your PVC pipe, run everything out to your waste pipe, and run it out of the building. Package units. Package unit means self-contained. All the 4 things I've mentioned, your compressor, your condenser, your expansion valve, and your evaporator, all are in one component. That's why they call them package units, self-contained. You see, but when you are now putting that technology in place, you must separate the cooling part from the heating part so that there won't be any mixture. You can't be cooling an environment and at the same time pumping heat to the environment. You can see the direction of the cooling. Going up, if you connect your dot here, you can now channel this cooling to the offices where it is needed, while the hot air can go out to the environment from this part. Where can we get it? Mini supermarket, mall, school, hotel, and hostel, those that can afford it, then theater or cinema. Then when you talk of big factories, we have AC, they call the chiller system. The chiller system can cool large area, either in your factory, either in the mall, either in your stadium, your church, your mosque. If you can afford it, they are expensive, but they serve the same purpose of cooling. Then we have 2 types of the chiller system. We have the air-cooled chiller and we have the water-cooled chiller. The cheapest of these two is the air-cooled chiller. The air-cooled chiller uses the air within the environment to cool the compressor that is working and every other component within it. While the water-cooled system requires a cooling tower, requires another pump. It's a big form of installation. If the cooling tower break down, the water cool will not function. So these are mainly used in refinery, where oil is being exported and temperature need to be controlled to a particular level for a particular content in your crude oil to get out. It can also be used in your factories to cool your machine that are constantly working and producing money for you. Sometimes you see condenser chillers and the rest. Those of us that have had experience in factory, you will know what I'm saying. I've seen all this in different factories in Nigeria. Then this another type they call the absorption chiller. The absorption chiller is another form of AC that does not use those 4 basic principles that I've mentioned. They use heat actually and convert that heat that is passing through there, convert it to cooling. The refrigerant they use for this particular system, they called it lithium bromide. I have my company in the past have supplied some company this. They are very massive and they are very heavy, and they cool well and they work effectively. The system they can cool up to 5. Hello, Barakat, what happened? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello,
I can
Barakat.
hear you, sir.
What
Yes, I
happened?
can hear you, sir. Your
Is it
screen just stopped sharing. You can try to share. Maybe it was the network.
okay? Sorry, network. Sorry, please. Please, if you can see, just let me know. Can you see now?
Yes, sir. We can see, sir.
Yes, sir, we can
So,
see.
so this VRS system is one of the
Yes.
best technology that we have presently. It consider the bogus space the killer system consume when you are in different floors. connected with a duct running into different space. So it requires a lot of money. But somebody, great thinker, now went, how can we reduce this space? And still, instead of using duct, we use copper pipe running to different outdoor units. You can see, for just one single outdoor unit, you can connect multiple indoor units with just one single pipe, but they have standard of installation. And you must get your installation correct from the beginning. Once you get it correct, your building will have the best comfort you can ever think of. The disadvantage is that once you bring people that doesn't understand the VRS system to install this, you've had a problem in your building. The refrigerant pipe might leak out. And once it leak out, the ACs will not work. And if you don't protect the outdoor unit will shut down. And once the outdoor unit shut down, it affects. So if you want to increase this, because you have about 5 to 10 floors to manage, you can actually add another outdoor unit. You can add 3 outdoor units. You can have 5 outdoor units. But before you do that, you will do what they call heat load calculation. How do you do your heat load? Heat load can be calculated. Let me give you a brief formula, a very brief formula. It doesn't work all the time. They call it rule of thumb. So you can actually use 0.8 kilowatts per meter square. So how do you get that? If you need to cool a space, just take measurement of the area. How do you measure the area? You measure the length, you measure the breadth. The length might be 5 meters. Sorry, the length might be 5 meters and the breadth might be 3 meters. So if we multiply that, what does it give us? 5 times 3 will give us 15 meters square. That 15 meters square, you now multiply by 0.8. But if I was in Maiduguri, I can decide to use 1.2 kilowatts because the environment there is very hot. Please take note, rule of thumb can work in some cases, but not all the time. Rule of thumb does not consider the number of people in space, does not consider the location of the building to the sun, does not consider the material used in building the house, does not consider the number of heating equipment within the space, does not consider a lot of things. But you can use it to get a rough estimate of the required cooling. You might ask, why do I need this knowledge? Sometimes, most of us that are FM, you see that our energy cost is going up. Some of us are paying close about 10 to 12 million every month for energy. Those of us that are sincere, some are paying up to that amount in a year. And one of the things that can cause that is your AC. Sometimes, if you over-design your AC, you can actually impact your energy consumption. So you are supposed to have 1 horsepower working within your AC. Then you decided to put 2 horsepower. You don't need the whole of 2 horsepower. You only need 1 horsepower. Why are you installing 2 horsepower? Because your compressor will make demand for energy. And your demand make more demand for your amperage. And your amperage is reading and running on your meter. Meaning you are paying more to PACN. Now that we have band A, B, or C, anyone you end up there will be a multiple of what you are consumed for that month. So your reason as an FM is to reduce what they call operational cost. Presently, there's a project we want to carry out around the island. One of the things we are looking at, we want to put a solar project. One of the things we are looking at is to remove all conventional ACs and replace them with inverter-driven AC because they are energy efficient and they consume less energy, so that we will reduce the cost of the project that we want to run. So these are areas and direction you can actually go. Your duty of an FM is a business case. You must learn how to write business cases. You must learn how to bring advantages of one particular technology to reduce or offset your operational costs. That's why you are an FM. Don't be an FM there to collect your salary. Be an FM to bring an impact in business ideas, that when people are seated, if you are not there, no discussion will be discussed until you are there, because they know you are filled with ideas that can make the building to run well. So VRF system, the V stands for variable, the R for refrigerant, then the F for flow. Some other systems have them as VRV. is still the same, but the last V means volume. Variable refrigerant volume, but this particular one here is variable refrigerant flow. So I go. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me proceed. So we also have other type of AC system not listed in this presentation, but are used in various sectors. Have you ever wondered in a submarine what kind of AC they use there? Submarine is a ship that goes inside the sea. They use it for war. So just imagine you are the facility manager maintaining it. If the AC break down, you now tell somebody to go out inside the water and go and do servicing. There's another form of AC they use for that. Then what of your ships? If you are virtue to be working in the marine sector, maybe in the oil and gas sector, they might ask what kind of AC that are installed there are not the normal AC you have. Because the environment in the oil company is so polluted with dangerous gases that they react with your refrigerant pipes and they can corrode them within 3 months. So they use equipment that are resistant to harsh environments to run that. You might not have the idea, but I tell you today, once you want to install AC in an marine environment, ensure they are resistant to the environment. What of airplane? You enjoy airplane from Lagos to Abuja. What kind of AC do they have there? They have another kind of AC that is working and running well. What of rocket that goes to space? What kind of AC that run there? But in all this definition, every AC run with the same principle. Remove heat and cool the space. Remove heat and cool the space. That is just the layman definition for that. How do we maintain this air conditioning system, which is the bulk of our discussions today? Most of our AC listed above have similar basic component, which is the compressor, the condenser, the expansion valve, and the evaporator. How do you maintain them? These are type of compressor. I only show you, this is one of the many type of compressor that is being used in cooling in our spaces. Every AC, more than 80% of our AC use this compressor. But when you get to bigger units, you now see all this kind of AC and all this kind of compressor. All these kind of compressor are used depending on the kind of cooling you need to deliver to the space. So it is not for you to cram, but just know there are different kind of compressor. This one is positive display, and we have the dynamic type, in which you have the centrifugal Asia, then you have this reciprocating rotary and the rest. Please, you don't need all this jargon. All you need is a system that is cooling. This is just for your knowledge. Then why compressor go bad? Low refrigerant charge. You brought in somebody that does not know about AC to install your AC. After I brought you just put little AC. Because the AC is not much, the refrigerator is not much, you require cooling within your space will not be sufficient to cool. It's just like somebody having short of blood in the system. It will not work. Then poor ventilation. You install your outdoor unit facing a wall. How do you expect that to cool? You need enough space in front of your AC, then a little space behind your AC so that it can suck air from the environment and eject air out into the environment. There's a building I was called for an inspection. The building is in Bodilon. Very beautiful building, and I won't call the name of the building. Most of you know it. Very fancy building. But we discovered something. Their AC is always shutting down. Why? We discovered when we went for inspection, we saw the house girl was actually drying cloth in the balcony. The balcony was designed very beautiful, but the AC was installed within the balcony and there's no space enough in front of that. That place is so hot that the house girl felt that if you wash madam clothes, now that place ain't go dry am. And our little experience makes that work for her and it gets dry. But the problem, the owner of the house is experienced that the AC is shutting down. So your AC actually need to get that heat out. Nothing should obstruct it. If you obstruct it, some of the heat goes back to the unit, and that can lead to your AC going down. So if you have such in your building, so what you can do is to find a way of opening holes in the balcony, allow free discharge of that hot air, or you relocate the outdoor unit to where it has enough ventilation. block suction line. Your suction line, your copper pipe can actually be blocked. If you are installing that, dirt finally gets into your pipes, they can actually block it. And if they block, there's no movement of the refrigerant pipe. You know, all the 4 things I mentioned, the compressor, the condenser, the expansion valve, and the rest, all are connected together with a copper pipe. Some of them are 4/4, some are 1/2 inch, some are 3/4, some are 5/8, and the rest of them. If care is not taken, that blockage will not allow that flow of refrigerant. And if the refrigerant does not get to the evaporator, it will not deliver cooling that you require. Then poor power supply, which had to be a problem in Nigeria. Then I will also give you people advice here. What advice am I giving you? If you want to buy AC in an environment where there's no much power, I will advise you to go for single phase AC. Don't go for 3-phase. Because sometimes when PHDN takes their light, what happens? 2-phase or 1-phase might go. That AC that is working on 3-phase will not come on. But all your single phase AC will be on and be running. So you need to look at this when you are selecting your AC. Then we have poor and bad installation. If your AC is badly installed or poorly installed, it can have impact on your compressor. Then factory issues. Sometimes factory issue can also be a problem for your compressor. I always request that you go through warranty, buy from designated brand. I don't know, any brand can be very good for you. I'm not here to call any brand. Go into the market, do your research, and go straight for the product that suits for your factory and for your company. Then we have bad capacitor. If capacitor run bad, your compressor sometimes will not work. Then your fan also may not work because their workability is tied sometimes to capacitor. The wrong pipe sizes. If you have wrong pipe sizes into your AC, they will also malfunction or they will be exposed to leakage. Then what are the possible solutions? For the low refrigerant charge, get a professional that knows what he needs to do on site. Charge your refrigerant pipe up to the required level. Provide good ventilation for your unit. Clear all suction line of debris. Then ensure good power supply into your AC. If the power is not fully supplied, you can go on your gen to run your AC. Then get a good installer for your AC. Ensure products have warranty. When you have issue with factory error or factory problem, since you bought from a reputable place, your warranty on that product can actually allow the company to give you another brand and withdraw the one they've given to you. Install good capacitor. Then use the right pipe size. Then this is how your condenser look like. You see, this is the fan. These are your coil. It has aluminum fin and a copper in it. These things you see are the one that create the cooling that you require. Then you see your compressor outdoor. Then the compressor is tied to your capacitor. You see the capacitor here is tied to your compressor. When you energize, this might give enough juice, enough energy to power up your compressor. If this man fail, the compressor will not start. Please take note. Sometimes when your unit have issues on site, might not be the compressor have issues. It might be capacitor. But because you don't have the knowledge, your technician will tell your guy, our compressor don't spoil again. No. They will collect about 80 to 150,000 from your hand to replace, while they will go to the market and buy a capacitor of 5,000 or 10,000 and they go away with it. So take note, the equipment to test for your capacitor, you go to the market, you buy them. Once your capacitor, your unit fall down, test and measure the capacitance in your capacitor. If it is 3 microfarad written in it, your measuring equipment should give you 3 microfarad. If it give you 1 point something microfarad, that capacitor is gone. You need to replace. Just take that same capacitor to the market if you are self-performing. But if you have a vendor that is maintaining your facility, call them to come in. They will come and give you what is needed. Common problem with your condenser coil, block coil. If you put your condenser in a dusty environment, it will suck up the dust until it will block itself. That blockage now look like a plank. Nothing can go through it. So the only solution for that particular one is to use your pressure washing machine. And I believe we have all seen pressure washing machine. Pressure washing machine is also used for your evaporator coil, and I say evaporator coil, your radiator in your car. When you carry them to car wash, you see one machine they will put in a bucket or in a tap. Once you on it, it will drop water and increase the speed at the other end. They use that to remove dirt from your outdoor unit so that the outdoor unit can get the free benefit of cool air in the environment to cool the compressor. Because if the compressor is not cool, there's danger for that compressor. Ensure the fin are not bent. The fin, if they are more than 50% of the fins are bent, air that is coming through the back will not be able to go through the fin. So you need to ensure that the fin are open and none of your technicians are bending it. The good installation, very important. They block any leakage. If you notice there's a leakage in your outdoor unit, you need to identify. How do you identify? There are gas testing equipment for refrigerant, and there is a cheapest form which uses what? Soap water. Buy a detergent soap with water, add it, mix it together till it provide a ladder. Put the ladder around your pipes. Anywhere you see bubble coming out, you know that there's a leakage at that particular point. And if you must brace, you must pump down. Don't brace while the refrigerant is still running in the pipe. Some of the refrigerant can actually turn into a bomb. I heard a news somewhere in VI of a guy that didn't know what to do on site. They had issue of leakage. So he did not pump down. He just started cutting pipe, and immediately he lighted the acetylene, lighted everything, and he put on. There was a large explosion they had. And when they went to check, they discover the lifeless body of this technician on the ground because he did not know what to do at that particular moment. Please, if you must self-perform, call the knowledge of experienced person to help you to pick people for your AC maintenance. It is very important. If not, you start carrying people, dead bodies away from your facility, and it will have dire effects on your company and you as an FM. Please take note of all these things. What seems simple might actually turn out bloody or difficult. Then this is an expansion valve. What is the work of an expansion valve? To do what? To reduce pressure. You see the way they design it? Very thin pipe, open up into a bulb where the pressure can be reduced. I use a good example of a gutter opening up into a canal. Pressure is more on the gutter, and when it gets to a bigger portion of its size, the pressure there reduces. That is the work this man does. But there's a problem. What is the problem? During installation, particles of carbon will drop inside this thin pipe. And once they drop inside this thin pipe, with long, prolonged quantity of this dirt, they can actually block these small pipes. And because of that, the refrigerant will not go through. And if the refrigerant does not go through, no cooling will be supplied to your building or through the AC. So you need to ensure that this thing is free of any dirt. The standard form of installation is when you are brazing, nitrogen is running through all your refrigerant pipes. When you are brazing, nitrogen does not explode. So you need to take cognizance of that. But if you can pump down, then fine. You can brace and do what they call pressure testing before you connect. If not, there will be issues. So once the dirt is cleared, the coast will be clear for your AC to work well. So what are the common problems? Poor installation, poor phase change. When I talk about phase change, you see that I mentioned gas. When you heat up the compressor, gases are moving. When it passes through the condenser, the temperature has gone out. The temperature reduced for the refrigerant. It is turning from gas into liquid, and the liquid is the one that is cool. If you have gone to your kitchen, the gas you used to cook, If you shake it and touch the body, how do you feel? It is cold. The refrigerant pipe is also fall in that group. If you touch them, they are very cold. When you heat them up, they turn from liquid to gas. Then when they are ejecting the heat out, they turn back to liquid. You wonder, you buy gas from a filling station. When you are heating your gas, you'll be hearing sound of like liquid inside the gas. So take note of that. Your refrigerant also work in that fire. So when we talk about phase change, for that cooling to take effect, that gas need to be changed completely into liquid. So if that phase change is not taking place in your expansion valve, then the cooling will not be assured. In the solution, pour installation, proper phase change from the compressor, then use the right component, your thermostatic expansion valve. If you go to Browning Way, there are a lot of people that sell AC part. We have a lot of fake ones they sell. If you cannot identify, then you buy fake things. You will end up having problem with your clients or having problem in your building. So take note of buying the original one. Then this is an example of your evaporator. In a bigger unit, this is how the evaporator look like. Then in your window unit at home, this is how your evaporator look like. They consist of a fin, and they have aluminum. They have in where the gas can come in and where the gas can be discharged. This evaporator also have the same components like that. So what are the issues this man can have? Common problem with evaporator, block coil. If your coil is blocked through to dust, you might be indoors. After about 2-3 years, you have not touched your AC. If you finally open it, you will now see ice forming on your AC. It's because it has accumulated so much dust. The cooling, the hot air that is supposed to pass through, it cannot pass through. So the cooling inside the refrigerant keep cooling the surface of the fan, and that fan keep going down. The temperature keep dropping until water on the surface now form into ice. So what cause ice? You might want to ask. It is poor maintenance culture that cause ice to form. Sometimes low refrigerant can also cause it. So block refrigerant. Then faulty fan. If your evaporator fan is not working, it's faulty. Even if cooling come inside, it cannot pump it out. So you will not get cooling. Gas leakage from its coil, then factory error. Factory error could also be a problem. Also, I've told you, make use of your warranty. Then you read up the possible solution. We still have a long way to go. Then filters. You ask, do we need filter? Yes. The work of filter is to remove the quantity of dirt within the air within your space. After cleaning, your janitor clean the space. The other thing that ensure good quality of air in your space are your HVAC system. Please treat your filter well so that you can breathe in good air. If you don't treat your filter well, then you have bad air within your space that can result to your employees or staff going to the hospital because they breathe in one dangerous microorganism that is affecting their lungs. So in bigger units, you have the filter like this. So if the filters space is so big, sometimes you might add up to 10, sometimes 20 of these to form just one big filter. They are always 600 by 600. They push them in to form something so that all the dirt coming in can be sucked. Then in your window unit, this is what we have. And this one, you can actually do it yourself. You can raise your filter, your AC lid up, go outside, then you wash it, then dry it, then install back, then your AC is good to go. If you do your constant washing, your evaporator will not have dust in it. Periodic maintenance also save you from total breakdown. Common problem with filter, your filter can also be blocked. If you don't do cleaning of your filter regularly, you block it. Poor install filter. There are some filter that are poorly installed. When you are installing, you leave space for dust to be going in. It will not work well. Poor quality filter. You go to the market because you are looking for something cheaper. You now go and buy fake things. That fake thing can actually lead to the death of your AC. So we also have using the wrong filter can also lead to your AC having issue because the work of the filter is to remove dirt. And if they are not reducing that, it gets back to evaporator. And if the evaporator is blocked and you are not maintaining, the refrigerant pipe that is cooling sends signal back to the compressor. And if care is not taken, you can actually affect the compressor. The compressor is working continuously to cool, but it's not getting the required cooling. Solution: clean filter, install filter properly, then use the recommended filter, then use the appropriate filters. Then water leakage and drain. These are some of the issues you have. Water leaks either through your drain system installed or through your evaporator. If your evaporator does not have a tray where water can drop and enter into your pipe outside, or because of poor installation or poor material, your pipe is caught, water can start dripping into your building. And if water drip for too long, they can cause they can cause structural defect in your building. Microorganisms can start growing. All these algae can start growing around your building or in your office if care is not taken over time. So problem: structural defect. It may result in smell. It may result in mold on your wall, growth of algae, then backflow of water. Good solution: proper installation. They install drain exit away from gutter. Sometimes you ask in bigger units, smell from your environment can actually get into your office. Because if you install your drain system, your drain system should have what they call a U trap. That U trap is like your WC. I want to explain something. Please listen. If you go to our villages, our toilets are about 1 kilometer from our houses. Because one, there's no water system in some of our villages. We have to travel far distance to go and do the thing there, then come back. But in the cities, we have a WC. That WC has something like a U trap. When you flush, water comes to replace. That water that comes to replace, what does it do? It does not allow cockroach to follow the toilet into your house. It does not allow rodent to come into your house. Then it does not allow smell from your toilet to enter in your house. That's why it is safer for us to have toilet in our houses. The same principle must be applied when you are running your drain system to a gutter. You must design something like a U-trap at the end. Because if you don't design it, smell from outdoor can actually get itself into your office and it can affect productivity. These are some of the issues I've mentioned earlier enough, and I've explained that. Poor cooling, it can lead to compressor failure. Efficiency of your AC might be affected. Then the solution I've written for you to go through. Then this is capacitor. We have different kind of capacitor. Some you don't need to cram all the time, but this is what they look like. It's always made of aluminum. The design, sometimes you see some paper with some things they put inside and the rest. So the work they do is that they store electrical energy. Once they remove a capacitor, don't go and do Superman on site and go and touch the head. There's still energy in it. It will discharge the current into your body. And if it's big enough, it can kill you. Please take note. If you check a real technician on site, once they remove your capacitor, they discharge the current. By using 2 iron, you must wear glove when you want to do it. Touch itself, you will see a spark that will come out. Do it 2 times, 3 times, then the energy is discharged. But don't touch it direct with your bare hands. It can electrocute you. That small thing. Then what is the function of capacitor? All this many English here is that the capacitor store energy. Or better still, let me explain. We have what they call starting current. We have what they call starting current and running current. Starting current are usually very high than a running current. And what causes it? Your capacitor stroke your compressor. When you on your compressor, it draw energy once. If the normal amperage is supposed to be 20 amps, it draw up 20 amps at the starting. But when it is now running constantly and smoothly, that 20 amps can now start dropping to 15 or 12 amps. So if you must select your generator, select generator that with what? The starting current. Don't use the running current. Please take note. So the capacitor give energy for your compressor to start. So if you put energy in your AC, The compressor will pick it plus the energy in your capacitor to start it. So if the capacitor is faulty, your energy at home alone cannot start your compressor. That's why some of your technicians cheat you. Please take note of that. So once they complain that compressor have issue, tell them to go and test the capacitor, whether the capacitor is the one that is having fault. Then you replace it. Then your AC will start working. Then problem, poor power supply, fake capacitor on the side. So you use the necessary power multimeter to measure, get the required power. Then ensure you use the right capacitor. Then don't use undersized capacitor for your unit. What are the things you look out for when buying an AC unit? You are an FM. They ask you a question. We need to buy AC. What are the things you need to look out for? The brand of the AC, number one. Type of refrigerant is used. Is the refrigerant the latest one or is the outdated one not being used again? You need to ask. Warranty period on the product, you need to ask. Energy efficiency ratio, what this is telling you. Gone are those days where you will use bigger energy to get out just more energy out of an equipment. But these days, a good example is our electric bulb. Electric bulb in the olden days, they produce heat and they give us light. But people over time, they discover that we don't need the heat. All we need is light. They now create LED. That LED does not generate much heat like the light we have about 10, 20 years back. You understand my point? So that idea is also transferred into your unit. They look for the one that when you plug electricity, you only demand for little current and give you maximum output. Don't forget, I mentioned in one of our facilities somewhere in Ikoyi, we are trying to remove all conventional AC, the old ones, and replace them with a inverter-driven AC. What are we looking at? The one that reduce our energy use. That's why energy efficiency ratio come up. The higher the energy efficiency ratio, the more efficient the equipment will work. Aesthetic of your design. Sometimes your client might tell you, we want AC that will be so fine, stylish. I don't want people to notice. I want this. So that could also be a source of your this thing. Sometimes it could be budget. Purpose of the AC. When you ask, Paul, what is the purpose of the AC? You want to design for a club, you want to design for a church, you want to design for maybe a library, you want to design for a stadium, you need to know the purpose. Then maintenance. As you are considering your AC, think of maintenance. Then the other one you need to think of, do we have parts available in Nigeria? If you go to most of the high-rise building on the island, most of them have moved away from their central unit. They are now going to split units because they don't have money to fund that unit. Some of the big units, once they shut down, it gives you a lot of problem and you spend so much to bring them back to life. Then what are the possible causes of HVAC failure in a facility? Poor installation, poor design, wrong HVAC system for your building, over or under design, not taking into consideration the actual cooling load. Before you select, you need to do a cooling load for you to know the appropriate AC meant for your building. No redundant HVAC system in your server room. Redundant AC means you have to over-design in your server room. If you require to use 20 kilowatts of cooling, you design for 30. You'll be using 20, while the equipment that will serve that 30 is left, not used. In case one of those 20 kilowatts of AC has fault, you will energize the 10 kilowatts. That is what they call redundancy in air conditioning system. Then poor duct installation. If your ducts are poorly installed, they can generate noise. They can also lead to sweat because if the cooling passing through your duct is so cold, water will start dripping. How does water form? When heat meet cold surface, what happens? Water droplets will begin to drop. Maintenance culture could also affect if you don't have a good one in place. Purpose of your design also need to be defined. No part available, you need to consider. Then not considering power issue. That I've talked about this 1 or 3 phase. Then conditional assessment. As an FM, you must have been taught this, but this will just be a little addition to what you've learned. When you enter a building, do not go and sign contract and take over the building. I'm giving you a warning. A lot of companies have suffered the effect of their errors. Don't say, the contract is big. The company is a multinational. You go and sign without reading the condition of the contract. Before you enter, do what they call conditional assessment of the building. How do you do that? Get a list. Take serial number 1. What is the first equipment? Air conditioning system. What type do we have in so room? AC. What brand? Panasonic. What is the condition? Working well or not working well? We observe leakages. Take note of that leakages. You note it down. You go to another place, no refrigerant. You take note. You go to another place, the cable is not working. They use fake cable. The last people that came to work on it, you note it down. You take all those conditions down and get a vendor to apportion quotation for each of these things and let your client know before you take over the building. Because if this thing is not taken care of, you have issue. Under this, I will also advise, when you are doing your budget, do not do your budget adding repairs with PPM. Cost of PPM should not be mixed with repairs. Take repairs as optional or based on demand. Because if you go and cost for a compressor at 50,000, like the cost of price recently went to 1,900 and some places 1,002 or 1,001, then people now decide to increase that cost from 50,000 to 150,000 and you have signed a contract. Some client will never review that contract. It will tell you should have known this as an FM company. That's why remove repair from your contract. Please, I'm sending this to you. Some people have learned the hard way. So after you have done your condition, get all your paper documented, send it as an email to your stakeholders, to your clients, let them be aware. Call for a meeting, let them be aware. Then allocate a budget for the repair. Give a timeline for closeout. Then once that is done, they apportion you as a professional FN. These are conditions you must look. Action taken place during preliminary audit. Check the envelope and the structure. Then consider. Somebody is raising hand. Oluwashola Aye. Can you go ahead, please?
Okay.
We're almost rounding up. We're almost
Okay.
rounding up.
Good evening. So just
Good
want
evening.
to give my comment regarding the factors to consider when we're about to take up a facility, the
Yeah.
contract. So you made mention that we should not sign up for repair, right?
We should not?
That we should not sign
No.
up for repair when taking up the contract.
No. What I said when you do your conditional assessment, push
Okay.
every of your report to your clients.
Okay.
Then I also gave a note that always separate repairs from your PPM. PPM is what you do, like washing your filters, checking if your AC is working well. Is there any issue with your insulation? You try and fix that.
Okay.
Repairs can be damage of compressor. Repair can be maybe rain fell or your pipe snapped and all the refrigerant within the system leak out and you have to buy a full can for repairs. If you go and sign repairs and PPM together in the same contract, then that budget might be depleted in 3 or 6 months because of cost of things in the market varies. Please, do you get it?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. Better now.
That
Thank
is
you.
what I am saying. Because a lot of people have run it, because just note a building that run a budget for maintenance for AC about 2 million. So they were running the first quarter AC, there was no issue. They now started having epileptic power supply. AC compressor started burning down. not one, not two. When went to market to go and buy the compressor for replacement because they signed the contract already. They now told them, okay, that compressor, when you put there, now 150,000 and it needs to replace 3. And this is just around April. We are already spending 450,000 out of 2 million. So if you don't put preventive measures in place to stop that power supply coming to the AC and burning the compressor, by the end of December, you will be in deficit. And because you signed the contract, you can't go back to the client. Collect your PPMs. If your PPM is 1 million, you know. Anytime there's repairs, let the landlord know that we are going to get a quote for repairs. This is the amount to fix this. Send it to him to approve. It will be out of scope work. It saves you a lot of stress on site. It's just an idea over experience I'm giving to you. So step required for carrying out audits. Gather the building design data, document for information. If you have access to documents, drawings, gather it. Visit the site, location for the audit. You must go to the site, either with an experienced person or with your vendor. Definition of our profitability solution and action. After you have gathered all your reports, you must look for the portion that will be of profit to yourself and to your client. Then reporting matters. You can't do that audit and keep it to yourself. The people that needs it needs to know. A lot of buildings are shutting down on the island because of poor maintenance. Audit is not well done. Conditional assessment not well done. People just move into the building. So sooner or later, all those little things that you overlooked will start surfacing, either through your customer, your visitor, and the rest. You start losing people. Sometimes people go to shopping mall. What do they go to do there? They are not going to buy. Some go for window shopping because they love the environment. If it is not fine, what am I doing there? Are you getting? So you need to ensure you do the appropriate thing to ensure your client buy the points you are selling to them. Then checklist. Checklist is what you need to give to your technician every day. What must you check when you come every morning? You must check your refrigerant if it's okay, check your cable if it's okay, check AC if it's cooling properly, check your control that the batteries are there, check there's no noise in your AC, both indoor and outdoor, check the stand if it has not been shifted. That is what checklist is for. The guy will just take it. You can do the one for 1 week. You can do the one for 1 month. You just put there, check your compressor, tell us the condition. If it is good, you tick. If it is bad, you put X. The day you check and the thing is bad, you put X. Then on the comment section at the end of the month, you can put comment that a particular compressor is also building need to be replaced. Then you as an FM, you will not do a report to the landlord or to your client or to your tenants that during our monthly or weekly and daily inspection, we notice a fault with your compressor. Though it's working, but we advise you to replace. Send a mail to them, possible with the quotes. The plan preventive maintenance, we've talked about this ahead. Then also bring your mind to the strategy you must adopt in ensuring that your building is running well. The duty we are bringing on board is preventive maintenance. Corrective maintenance might not be effective, which is the one that we call reactive, run to failure, unplanned failure. But you use this other method, periodic, predictive, and plan. Those are the strategy you should adopt. Any one of them is appropriate. Just look at what you have on your system and you adopt. Then you have your PPM plan. If you go to some fact in your companies or commercial building, you have their PPM on the wall for everybody to see. You see your PPM, you have a 31 days maintenance schedule. You have everything listed, the person that is supposed to do it, then the number of minutes. If you need to time your employee, you put it there. Then you can write 1 to 52 weeks. Sometimes you can put it daily and monthly. Then you put color code to know what they need to do at different points. Please, you understand what I mean? That matters a lot to us. So please take note of that. Then how does heat get into environment? Heat can get into your facility through the activities, the number of equipment, then the materials you use in the building. Then one of the other things that can also boost your cooling is to use window blind. If your glasses in your commercial building is installed where sunrise, there's tendency that through your glass, more heat will be pumped into the environment. Sometimes window blind can also save your cooling, your AC for overworking. Because if it is hot, that means your compressor need to do more work to cool the space. So once you put your window blind, what happens? The window blind just trap the heat between the glass and itself. It doesn't allow it to extend to the space. While your AC will now take the air within the window blind to your office and cool those environments, thereby saving costs in the long run. Human electrical equipment, lighting system, solar heat gain, location of your building, the activities carried out. All AC installation tips. AC installation, you must check the strength of your AC, proper spacing between the walls and your AC unit, appropriate installation height from the ground. If you look at some buildings, some split units are actually raised from the ground. If you go and install your AC and the place is prone to flood, your AC will start having issues. Don't install your AC on the ground. Try and leave them a little bit up. You can get a foundation, you can get a base, you can get a plinth, or you can get those rod that you can install, that AC stand that you can install on the wall and mount your AC. Then correct change angle of your AC, correct location of your outdoor unit. Get areas where your AC can have enough ventilation. Proper placement of your outdoor unit. The right distance between indoor and outdoor unit. Using appropriate electrical cable. Use 15-amp plug and above. Do proper vacuuming of your AC. Then ensure there's no leakage. Use the appropriate refrigerant. Then ensure thermostats are well installed. Then these are standard installation, different type of AC. Then you might want to ask, what are the tools I need? You can take note if you want. You need an A ladder on your site for your AC installation. Then you need a pressure washing machine. I say pressure washing machine, the small one on your site. You need what they call manifold gauge on your site. You need set of Allen keys. You need spinner. You need screwdriver. You need flat and screw type. Then you also need soap. Soap must be part of the things you use to detect for leakage. Then you can now have maybe some copper pipe, armor flex, and the rest. Those basic ones you can have on site. Those are the basic things you need. So if you need any other classes or you want me to brief you, you can reach me. I'll drop my number at the end of the class to further give you other information you guys to need to succeed in your facility. Then you can see standard way of installing. If you go to some building, you see the ways the ACs are installed. They are not well arranged. You need to get a cable tray, put them well, install them, and use number identification or color identification to identify which pipe goes to which outdoor unit or indoor unit. See this another example. This is an environment where everybody wants to have AC. What makes this place beautiful is that they are not installed in a place where everybody will see it. If not, this is a mess. But this is a result of individual control. Those of us that have been to, there's this bookshop house about Macaulay around the Marina or CMS. If you look at the building, you see all kinds of AC on that building. That alone defaces that building. You cannot use that to compare the recent building being built now, that you don't see any AC installed on the outside part of the unit. The value of such property goes up. Then this is a chiller system I delivered to one of our clients in the past, and this is the base that is being installed. Before you drop this kind of chiller, there's what they call a damper, a foam, thick foam that you must place so that the vibration will not be transmitted to the base and base to the chiller. Then these are VRS system on the rooftop. The error here is that there's no coding and we don't know which of the pipe run to which floor. That's why I intentionally left this to explain. So what you need to do here is to use color code. If your copper pipe is running from the roof to second floor, decide to use green tape for all the copper pipe running into that floor. Use green. Then if it is second floor, you can use red, because human being seeing things that are identical can get confused. Just like somebody doing police work in China. Once a thief run into the crowd, you find difficulty identifying who to arrest, because all of them have similar face. The same way, identical things can confuse you. Just imagine they call you that they have issues with first floor. Because your technician cannot identify, he now cut the pipe to third floor. You have created two problems for you. So you can use that color code to identify. Then this is your manifold gauge here. The work of the manifold gauge is to check the level of pressure in your system. So you can also use it to pump down. You can also use it to charge. You can also use it to discharge. Those are the work they do. Then this is your indoor unit, your outdoor unit. I told you it has two copper pipe, one running in and one running out. So your Allen key can actually be placed there. There's a nut inside that Allen key alone can open. Then the knob outside can actually use your spanner to open this knob. But these are for technician, not for you. I'm only explaining. Then ventilation is another key thing that all of us need to know. Ventilation, I will just explain. We have used more than the required time. There will be time for questions. Ventilation, what does ventilation do? A ventilation is something we also know. When you go to our villages, you see people having tree around their house. The outdoor is so hot. What do? They go and sit down. You come back to the house. You saw that the house is, or those that have ceiling fan, does what? They on the ceiling fan. Those of us that don't have ceiling fan, they have AC. What do? They on their AC. All you want to do is to ensure that you get maximum comfort. Your temperature should work out fine. So that is the essence of ventilation. So along the way, if you don't have any of these things, the cheapest option is to open your window. Even your car, when you are driving, even these days that the price of fuel has gone up, you see people reducing the window to allow natural ventilation to come in, because you need it to keep yourself cool. So ventilation can be used in various ways. Either you are removing waste from inside your house, outdoor, or you are bringing a fresh air unit inside. In your toilet, you don't need the smell. So you use an extractor to remove the smell from the indoor to outdoor. So they call that extractor. Please take note. If you don't have it in your toilet and it's not working in your toilet, please install. In your kitchen, we identify heat. We also identify smoke. We don't need them outdoor. How do we take them out? You use extractor to remove the heat and to remove the smoke from indoor to outdoor. But inside the house, we are feeling stuffy, as if there's not enough air within the place. But everywhere is sealed because we are in a luxurious apartment. How do you bring fresh air into the house? You use what they call a ventilator. The work of the ventilator is to pick air from outside and pump into the space. And why are you doing that? To ensure that the room gets enough fresh air within that space. Please, I've explained all things about ventilation. So we have mechanical type, we have the natural type, then we have the mix. When we talk about the mechanical ventilation, you are using a fan through electrical means to bring in air from outside or to remove air. The natural type, you study the earth, where air is coming from and where air is going out. So you build your house against the air. So when air is blowing, it blows direct into your house. Then in the mixed type, there are sometimes you blow air into your house, it doesn't get to where you need it. So you need a mechanical means to pump it to where it is required. So these are some of the example of fan you see in bigger units. Then we have what they call the air handling unit. The air handling unit is a big equipment that have outdoor, then economizer, a mixing box, a return air, heating coil, cooling coil, a fan section, then this is supply. So all this OA is outdoor air. RA is return air. Outdoor air is oxygenated air coming from outside into the space. The return air is the air within your into your office that has gone up, the AC has sucked them. So what they do is that the outdoor air is coming at a higher temperature. Return air has already been cooled. So when it comes into the mixing box just mix the two together, then pass it through the heating coil. The work of the heating coil is to remove water content in air, while the work of the cooling coil is to cool the temperature from a higher level to a lower level. Then the work of a fan is to take the cooling from where it is not needed to environment it is not needed. The means of doing that is through a ducting system. That's why you see a supply at this point. Ventilation is needed in kitchen to remove smoke, needed in this different kind of air in space. I've talked about return air. Exhaust air is the air that is not needed within space that need to be taken out. Outdoor air is the one coming in. Return air is the air within the space going. Then we have supply air is the air coming from the AC into the space. Then this is a ventilator that put all those things together. The essence of this equipment is to give you oxygen within your space. Lot of equipment are installed in offices. There's no oxygen in that place. You enter, your eyes start getting red. You start feeling tired. You are yawning. Under about 5 minutes or 3 minutes, you enter the place. The place is stuffy. There's no fresh air. But the work of this man is to bring fresh air into space and make sure the environment is looking fine. The air handling unit, this is what they do. The air handling unit actually take air, cool it, and supply it to where it is needed. So this is another example of air handling unit. The work it contains a filter, heating coil, cooling coil, fan air distribution, economizer, heat recovery, planer boxes. So this is the last page. A small investment on your air conditioning system, preventive maintenance or servicing offer multiple benefits. A well-maintained air condition performs better even when it becomes old or might work beyond its lifespan, depending on culture that you have adopted on your side. Users should consider spending little amount now on preventive maintenance service instead of wasting a lot of money on repair work or replacement after the damage is done. We are having a discussion with some of our colleagues today. We say that by next year, with all these changes in economic policy, most of us will have to reduce most of our operational costs or look for alternatives to reduce. Please need to think deep. AC maintenance is another way you can reduce maintenance within your building. And I say thank you to all of you that have been on this call. Time for questions. Time for question, please. Hello. Hello.
Okay, yes, sir.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time for question. If you have any question, you can relate that to me now.
There's a question on the chat, sir.
Okay, question on the chat. Okay, just hold on. Chat. Okay. Okay, what exactly is the principle working behind the HVAC equipment? The principle. Okay, the principle behind it is that the heat generated is not needed. You know, when you want to keep yourself cool, you need ice water. But somebody somehow discovered a mechanical way of removing that heat from the environment through interacting compressor, condenser, and the rest mixed together. So what it does is that once the heat is being sucked to your indoor unit, there's a heat exchange between the heat and the cooling coil in your evaporator. So the cooling coil absorbs the heat, it is ejected out through the fan, blowing through the coil. It's just like you heating hot plantain. Sometimes you use your mouth to blow to get it cool. So that is the same principle that the AC is using to function. It sucks the heat, interchange the heat, it absorbs the heat to the refrigerant, pump it to the condenser, condenser eject the heat, then the refrigerant cools back and come in to cool. That is the principle. Then two, what can an FM do whereby the company does not want to release money for the maintenance? Oga, write email, warn them of the consequences. If you can do cases, business cases, why you need money for some certain things, then you can do it. I do lot of business cases. Once you do a business case and the client does not respond, anytime there's a risk to that facility, you can bring out the email that, sir, on so they have warned that this will result. You did not listen. Okay, I've heard. Okay, then you are liable to fall to their trap. Then what other question? What are the scope of an HVAC AC for a building? The scope of an HVAC, one, the AC should be working continuously without breakdown. Then you need to stock your building with consumable that the AC needs. Tools must be available to measure and see what is going on, like multimeter. I skipped it while I was mentioning items, tools that time. Multimeter is needed to test the power being supplied. You also need your capacitor multimeter to measure the capacitance. You also need your soap. You also need your manifold gauge to check the pressure of your refrigerant. You also need your eye and your experience to detect when you are have physical defect in your equipment. Low power wattage with maximum efficiency. Yes, sir. We have many of them presently, most especially the inverter driven type. They consume less energy and give you the required cooling within your space. Inverter driven AC. You can check on the chart. If you go online, just type, then look for the inverter type that can. The person that wrote the question is Sunday. I hope I've attended to your question. Sunday, please. You can unmute. Everybody can unmute now. It's time to talk. Hello. Hello, Bakat. Are you there?
Yes,
Good evening, sir. I have a question. Hello.
Modupe Ladipo, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The class was quite really insightful. So I want to know, are there like qualities of R22 gas or gas for AC? Because I was going to buy from a vendor and he was telling me, oh, there are different grades of, R22 gas. And how does it affect the cooling system?
First
Then
of
also,
all, R22, to be frank and sincere, it is no longer recommended for use. But China and I think India is still producing for us. But if you go to Europe, it's not that. When you say it has grade, different country produce their refrigerants. China produces, UK does not produce R22 and part of US. India produces. So the country they are being manufactured also matters. So when it talks about grade, that is what is mentioned in different countries with different parameters to arrive at. It's just like somebody having malaria drug, buying malaria drug in Nigeria. If you go to Europe, you don't see the malaria drug you have in Nigeria in Europe. They have their own brand. So that is what he's talking about. So to me, if the vendor is reliable and trusted, go ahead and buy, or tell the person to give you the pricing of your refrigerant and buy. I have some people I use in Brunei to buy such equipment because they've not disappointed. If you can get a vendor that will not disappoint you, if he give you an advice, follow it. So there are
Okay,
different
thank you,
grades.
sir.
There are different
Okay,
grades.
because he told me, oh, one is Ferron, then the other one I've forgotten the name. About
There are different types. They
1,000
are not, because if it is this, if it is the same, it will come from one manufacturer. But since there are different manufacturer, you have different. Just like the
Okay.
various TV, you have Sony, you have LG, you have
Yes,
Samsung,
sir.
and the rest. You understand? So they have different type depending on what you want.
Okay, sir. So,
So
but you
any
said
other
R22
question?
is no more. Sorry, sir. You said R22 is no more. Which
It's
would
no
you
more.
advise,
Yes.
sir?
So what I will
Which
advise you,
one?
if you still have it, you can go ahead and be using. But if they need to buy, do a business case. Are you managing a commercial office or a mall, or I don't know?
It's a commercial high-rise building, sir.
If it is high-rise building, do a business case, like one page. Don't do too many talk. Just do one page, list the disadvantage of R22, then the advantages of R410. The one, or I think there's R35. Do the advantages and send to your client when you want to replace a faulty AC, so that they will go for the environmental friendly refrigerant AC. So that is another way to remove it. In Europe, what they do is that once they say they declare and government have made policy, the company actually withdraw those things and tell you to come and take new one and pay little amount. But that is not obtainable in Nigeria. But what you can do as an FM, you gradually remove them from site and replace them with new one. That is the only solution
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Sorry, another
Yeah.
question, sir. How do you determine the cooling before you install an AC in a particular room or space? How do you determine the capacity
Cooling
that
load.
should be in that room? Yes, sir. The
You,
cooling load.
by calculation. Okay, you can decide to calculate now if you have your biro and pen. I will give you one small. I give you a rule of thumb. A rule of thumb: use 0.8 kilowatts per meter square.
Okay. 0.8 kilowatts per
Kilowatts
meter
per
square.
meter square. That value varies from place to place. You can decide to use 1 kilowatts per meter square. Meaning, if you calculate the area, you must calculate the length of the room by measuring the length. If it is 10 meters, you take note. Then you measure the breadth, you take note. So multiply. If it is 10 by 5, 15. So if it is 0.8, 0.8 times 5 times 15, what will it give you? What it gives to you is what you will go to the market to buy. And when you are buying, if it is a big haul, I will advise you to buy one. Divide the cooling into about 4, so that if one have issue, 3 can still be working. If you buy one, that means that place will not have AC till when you repair the one. You remember all those TV we used to have those days, where you have TV and that video that has cassette together. When the cassette part has 4, TV is working, and the repairer comes, oh boy, we need to carry everything, go repair. So everything follows him until he brings it back. You understand? So I would advise
Yes,
to
sir.
have separate. If you are to use a big hole, always use either 2, 4, or 6. They are always in even numbers.
Okay.
I
Okay.
hope
So
I've
now
addressed
the
your
value.
question.
Yes, sir. Sorry,
The-
sir. The value that I get when I multiply the 0.8 times the square meter is the horsepower that is required for
no, it's
that
not
space, right?
horsepower. It's kilowatts. It's kilowatts.
Okay. Sorry.
So we have ton. They use BTU, British Thermal Unit per hour, to measure AC. They use ton to measure AC. They use kilowatts to measure AC, and they use horsepower to measure AC. What I am speaking about now is 0.8 kilowatt cooling.
Kilowatts.
Yes,
Okay.
once you get your value, there's a table online you can use to convert from one form to the other. One
Okay.
ton,
Okay.
we give you, I think 12,000 BTU, which is more equivalent to 1 kilowatts.
Okay.
So don't worry, I will drop something for Baraka to share with your class, so that you
Okay,
guys
sir.
can use that as a yardstick to measure on site. Then you can also reach out to.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
So let me. So I'll drop my details in the chat section. Barakat, I'm done with the class.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Really
One.
appreciate your effort.
Okay, sorry. My
Yes,
number
sir.
08037391815. 08037391815. Ejiro is my name. That is also my WhatsApp. You can also reach out if you have any issue related. These are after the class. You can reach out to me. We can talk. Then if you have issues, then we can see how we can help out. So I appreciate all the time. I appreciate you guys. Please use your
Please, the
knowledge
number
well.
again. Please, the number again.
080
Yes, it's on the chat box.
37. It's on the chat. Check the chat. I drop it in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I wish you all the best. So, Barakat,
All
for
right. Thank you
tomorrow
very much,
class,
sir.
what time? For tomorrow, what time?
Yes, your slot is 12 p.m. to 2
By
p.m.
my slot is 12.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
All right. Thank
no
you very
problem.
much. I
Okay,
really
now I wish you all
appreciate
the
it.
best. Take care,
Thank you so
everybody.
much, sir.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, sir.
Bye,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
Olha aí, meu